Hey guys, Forsaken Reality here. In this video we'll be integrating the ladder climbing system into the Jigsaw Inventory and Tactical Shooter Kit integrated project. So without further ado, let's begin setting that up. So the first thing you're going to want to do is import a copy of the ladder climbing system in version 5.2 plus of Unreal Engine. They'll have the correct version of the files. And once you do that, we're going to set up the new collision channel. So you want to go into your project settings, collision, and new trace channel to ignore. That's going to be a ladder. Accept. And we're just going to come into the ladders here, check the master and ladder part and just make sure that's the block. Those are the project settings now. And once that's done, we'll also want to come into the ladder climbing component and search for sphere trace by channel. And each one that says they're correct, they actually should be correctly set. If they're correctly set, I'm going to leave them. Anyone that says visibility, you want to make sure they stay set to visibility. Do down here at the ladder. So those are all good. We can begin setting up the characters. So we'll want to open up the ladder climbing master character. And our Jigsaw character. Character, BP Jig character. And in here, first we'll go to the event graph, begin play for BP master character for the ladder. And we'll copy this node in the orange here. And we'll come into the event graph of the jig character, begin play. And first we'll want to add the ladder component. Now this will be set correctly. Let's connect that here like this. Now we'll want to go over to our input graph and I want to go into our interaction. This is not what I'm for, no. Alright, so interaction is hidden in here. So there's our interaction. And come over to our ladder character. And for the ladder interaction, we just copy this. Paste this right here. Now we'll trace for ladders. And now we want to set up our movement. But before we do that, we'll come into movement here. Okay, here's our climbing bolt, so we're gonna get our ladder component. Actually, we'll just come over here. Over to one of the movement inputs in our ladder character and copy this. Paste this in here. And if we're not on the ladder, we'll do the climb vault. And if we are, we can skip that. Like that. Leave it up to you guys to finish organizing. And now we can set up our ladder movement, so we can select these nodes. And if you hold control and click this one, we'll unselect it. It doesn't matter, you can copy it however you want to. We'll copy these, Control C, and look for our movement input. And we'll paste this in here. And so right here, we'll check if we're on a ladder. And if we are, we'll do our ladder input. And if we're not on the ladder, we can just do our normal inputs. And we're also going to want to grab this node here, paste it right here, make sure this value stays at 0. You want it to reset if you release your input. Let me drag that down, leave that there for now. And now we'll look into setting up for sprinting. So you can come over here and just grab these two nodes, ladder sprinting, Control C to copy those. And we'll just come over here to sprinting, input. I'm just going to drag over here and connect that like that. Allow us to have ladder sprinting. And grab all this before the jump node. Copy that. Drag that for a second. Paste this in. And for here, drag this up like that. Up there. And we'll just read that like this. Delete that check because I already have one. There we go. So that should look like this. Jumping. And that'll allow default as well. And also do our other regular jumping puts. And I believe that's everything for in the character. Now we can go ahead and set up the animation blueprint. So we're going to go to Jigsaw Inventory, Demo, Assets, Mannequin. I'm just going to search it. And we're actually not looking for this animation BQ. We go into Dev Pixel, Computer Template, Animations, and I believe we're using this animation blueprint. Yep. So first we'll go to our event graph. And then we'll go to our ladder climbing animation folder. Open mask character animation blueprint 35. And select these two nodes here. When you hold control, you drag, you'll be able to select these nodes up here as well. And I want to copy that. And our master and BP for our jig character. Not there. We want to go to our anim graph. And go right down to the bottom. Paste that in. Taking us. There we go. We just create this variable. Connect this to the none. Now we're on the ladder. We will play our animation for ladder. Otherwise, we'll just do whatever we normally do. And we have a few errors. So if it tells, we want to go to our event graph and go to the event graph of the ladder climbing. And on the update animation, we'll just grab this node right here, copy that, Control C, and we'll paste that in right here. And after the is valid for the planar component, connect this. Doesn't matter if you have either, you can have that name whatever you want. And create this variable. And create this variable. And there we go, here's fixed. Animation blueprint is set to go. Inputs look good. And I'm just going to check the rotation. Okay, so that's enabled. We're going to want to set up a way to disable that. One easy way to do that is to just come to our ladder component and go to the replication graph. Create a custom event. Set use controller rotation. And this will be set on server and from there create a boolean. Roll out and drag from that table. Use controller rotation rotation, set that value, and we'll set the rep notify. Come into the rep notify that we just created, drag out and get this value that we just created, and we'll get our character reference. We'll search for yaw rotation, we'll set that, whatever this value is when the event is triggered. We want to go into start ladder, climbing, and enter ladder, and call it server I call it server underscore set control yaw rotation. And now we'll go back to enter ladder, server, use controller yaw rotation, and on enter ladder we'll set that to false. Control C and copy that node, and on disable ladder climbing right here at the end we'll re-enable that value. And that's set up to run on server and notify all clients of that update. That'll prevent our camera from us not being able to rotate while we're on the ladder left to right. Now we can go into the ladder testing ladder level. See if everything works. And I want to change the game mode to MP game mode, which is the one that uses your jig character for Jigsaw, and it has the controller and everything set. And before we actually test this out, there's one more thing we're going to want to do. So we're going to want to come into our animations for the ladder climbing, and go to bottom, and stop. And for these animations, we're going to set them to ladder slot save. And don't worry about that, that's because it needs to be updated. If you come back in and reload it, it's set properly. And we'll do the same thing for this animation. And the same thing for these animations. Or not the enter. And you want to make sure it's just the out animation. So your character climbing out of the ladder. You don't want to set the climbing into the ladder animations, you want to keep those default. And now we click play. Walk up to a ladder. Fail to climb. See the animations, turn around. Just meant to connect to the ladder. Let's climb back on here. And the legs out of the bottom. A little bit of a collision there. Probably just be adjusted. You can probably adjust these, pull these slightly away. They come into the ladder blueprint here. Finding you're having weird collision issues like that. Move this like that off. Move this a little bit away from the ladder. That'll fix that issue. And also something else I wanted to do before we glue this up to hide our weapon when we climb onto the ladder. I want to get our character reference. We'll want to come into the ladder climbing component, and on enter ladder, after we put this server use controller yaw and set it to false, get component by class. Now the jig helper. Get the jig helper component. And from here we'll get active weapon. And we'll check if it's valid. And we'll get the root component from here, which will be whatever the root is, which in this case is the skeletal mesh. Set visibility. And it is valid. We'll set visibility. We'll propagate the children so that we'll get the attachments. And new visibility to false. So that when we get on the ladder, we'll add our weapon, our hand, and we can just select this and Control C to copy that. Head over to disable ladder climbing, and right here after this, connect that, and new visibility true. Propagate the children. And now we click play, pull out our weapon, climb on a ladder, and not there. And if we hop off the ladder, weapons back. And one thing, we actually want to go back to the enter and make sure on this is not valid, so not wearing a weapon. We'll still continue, so you'll be able to climb, go to weapon equip. And with that, should be good to go. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to join the Discord and leave a message, or leave a message in the comments below. Thanks, and I'll see you all in the next one.